For thousands of eons, the fecal family has ruled the multiverse. The likes of Prince Prostate, Benedict Boyhole, Professor Poopy Pants, and even the fabled Dr. Fart. This is the story of a young rectal warrior on his quest to become a true fecal fighter, accompanied by his faithful companion, Mr. Johnson. This is the story of Senator Shart.
Oh,
Mr. Johnson, we got them all. Look at this bench, Mr. Johnson. We can sit on it.
The peak of technology.
Check it out.
I'm reading the Battle of Sancretor.
Mr. Johnson, what's the Battle of Sancretor?
I don't know. I have to read the book.
Mr. Johnson, when you read the book, hey, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Johnson.
What?
Mr. Johnson.
What?
Mr. Johnson, when you get done with the book,
Yeah?
will you tell me about the battle?
Okay. Just let me read the book.
Okay. Go ahead.
In 2E852, Allied Northern Breton forces crossed the borders into Cyrodiil and occupied the major past settlement in the Gerald Mountains.
Mr. Johnson?
Making their Yes?
I pissed my pants. Hey, Mr. Johnson, what's this?
Yeah.
Why are there dead
It's
people?
Year's Rest.
Why are there
Who is
skeletons?
I have no idea.
Mr. Johnson, these skeletons are really scary. They're like
Yeah, that's kind of their point.
why are skeletons burning, Mr. Johnson?
Because you lit them on fire.
I found a skull. I found an ancient Nord bow.
trying to
Hey,
pick
Mr.
the
Hey,
lock.
Mr. Johnson, Mr. Johnson. I found an ancient Nord bow. Check it out. Watch this. I shot that rock. Mr. Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
I found a cool helmet. Check it out.
Okay.
Check it out. Look cool
Man,
I
that's a
look.
cool helmet.
Yeah. I look pretty cool, don't I?
You look very cool.
Am
You look the coolest.
I handsome, Mr. Johnson?
I'm not allowed to disclose that information or I'll have to move houses again.
Mr. Johnson, there's a wolf. Check out my
Die!
check out my bow skills. Never mind, you killed it. It's okay, Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Hey, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah.
Who's your best friend?
You.
That's so sweet, Mr. Johnson. I'm glad you're my best friend. You're actually the coolest person I know.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mr. Johnson, there's a crab behind you. I killed it.
Die!
Mr. Johnson, these crabs are fighting me.
The crab?
I killed it. Don't worry, Mr. Johnson. I'm gonna kill it.
I didn't know you had crabs.
Mr.
It's not
Johnson,
bandits!
this cave is really scary. Watch my bow skills. I shot that guy. He's dead.
Nice shot!
Thanks, Mr. Johnson. You're so nice. Mr. Johnson, have you ever met my cousin?
Who's your cousin?
He's a doctor. His name's Dr. Fart.
Really?
Yeah, he's really cool. He has guns. He knows how to shoot a gun, and he kills people really hot, like in their face. Mr. Johnson,
What's a gun? I do not know of these machinations.
he's dead, Mr. Johnson. I got him all by myself.
Loot his corpse! He has mucho
Hey,
money
Mr. Johnson,
on him.
are you proud of me?
I am very proud of you. Murdered
Hey.
him in cold blood.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I love you. You're the closest thing I've ever had to a father.
Oh.
Hey, Mr. Johnson.
Yes?
I got an iron greatsword.
Cool. Ah, yes. Look
Wait.
at this awesome trap. Shit.
You're gay, Mr. Johnson. You
No,
said
that's
traps
not
were
true.
awesome. You're faggot.
No!
Mr. Johnson, look how big my sword is. I'm like Cloud from Final Fantasy. Okay, Mr. Johnson, let's get out of here.
Okay.
And so the duo, weary of spelunking in ancient caverns, set out to find a true quest, a grand adventure. But little did they know, they were about to set out on a journey that would change their lives forever.
Mr. Johnson,
Yeah.
there's a pimple on my balls. Mr. Johnson, what do I do about it? I don't want to pop it. It would hurt.
You must pop it. At
Wait.
all costs.
It hurts really bad. When I touch it, it starts hurting. And it makes me want to yelp for help.
My son must bear through the pain.
The what?
The pain!
Pain?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson, that's the guy from
Man from-
Naruto. You ever seen Naruto,
No.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes, I have.
Hey, Mr. Johnson, there's a fire. Fires are
We must
dangerous.
put it out.
Look, Mr. Johnson,
Smokey
there's a
Bear
pack
taught
of...
me that.
Mr. Johnson, come over
It's
here.
the-
Mr. Johnson, come over here. There's a pack of woolly mammoths.
Ah! 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 I must eliminate these giant men.
Oh, I see them. Let's take them out, Mr. Johnson. They're called giants because they're really big. Mr. Johnson, I've got a woolly mammoth. Ah!
Run!
Mr. Johnson, that's a skeever. Where are you, Mr. Johnson?
I'm here.
Oh,
Must
hello.
take them out at all costs. Oh my God! The skeever just got ground pounded.
We're getting attacked.
We've been overrun.
We gotta get out of here, Mr. Johnson. I don't think we stand a chance in this battle. I'm running for my life. I don't think I can...
Come back towards.
I don't think I can mentally handle this.
Come back towards the bridge. We'll find a way.
What's a bridge? I got a message from
Smack the way to
Thundercat.
better ends.
Hello, Thundercat. I like your show. Mr. Johnson, where's the bridge? I can't find
Haven't
it.
the slightest clue.
I ran away from the woolly mammoths and the giant Mr. Johnson, my voice cracked. Does that mean I'm going through puberty?
No.
Mr. Johnson, I want to go through puberty.
Why?
Dr. Fart said when you go through puberty, your penis gets really big. Mr. Johnson, I'm at the bridge.
Yes, let me make my way back there for a third time.
Hello. What's good? Or I've put this in as a blooper.
Hello.
Mr. Johnson, there's a strange man. He was talking to me in my head.
What is his name?
His name's Coffee Jack. Alright, Mr. Johnson, I'm coming to help you. It's my time to shine. Here I come, Mr. Johnson. Lure him onto that bridge. Lure him onto that bridge. Mr. Johnson, I'll do a finishing blow. Here we go.
What are you using?
Ah! He's dead, Mr. Johnson. I killed him.
Paralyzed him!
That's me. Mr. Johnson, that's me.
No, this guy! Look at this guy!
What's this guy? The crab?
No, the guy that's exploding fire everywhere!
What the fuck are you talking about, Mr. Johnson?
I swear I'm not tripping out, dude. The guy, he's right here, he's like going crazy.
Okay,
Do you see him? He's right here.
I don't see him. Mr. Johnson, I think you're delusional, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson, you wanna rob these people? Stick them up.
Second, let me equip the weapon.
They're dead, Mr. Johnson. I killed them all. Mr.
Bash
Johnson,
his
I'm a
skull in.
bloodthirsty maniac.
Yes.
Dude, look at my epic necklace. It's my bling. Check that out. That's so sick. I'm really looking like a warrior now, right, Mr. Johnson? Who's
Hey,
this guy?
this man is teleporting.
Hey, fart for brains. How about you stop that? Right now. Thalmor Justicar.
Just a car.
That's what Lightning McQueen is. He's just a car.
Damn you! I was trying to concoct that joke, but you beat me to it.
I see you, Mr. Johnson. I'm lost no longer. I found the way.
Do you know the way?
Alright, Mr. Johnson, I think we should go to town and find some work.
I think we should, but let's first investigate the camp.
Look at this big fire. I think
Think
only
the camp
one
is
thing. Hey,
clear.
Mr. Johnson, I think only one thing can make a fire this big, and that's giants. Mr. Johnson,
Yes?
I got a giant's toe.
Very, very interesting.
I know, right?
Why do I hear angry music? There are no enemies.
Mr. Johnson, maybe the enemy he's with him. Maybe he's in your heart. The enemy is
I am
you.
the enemy. No!
Mr. Johnson,
Yeah?
have you ever seen a Mr. Johnson,
Yes?
have you ever seen a hippopotamus?
No?
Okay.
Let's go back to the town. We'll see if we can trade in our goods that we acquire. Maybe find some work.
Hey, Mr. Johnson, we better watch out for those blackies.
Don't worry, this is a clean community.
Mr. Johnson, there's a sign that says no colored people allowed. Mr. Johnson, am I a colored person?
I wouldn't think so. No, you're transparent.
Trans?
Yes, you're transparent.
Those are girls with penises. I think those are kind of nasty, Mr. Johnson.
Hello, Elrindir. Oh, move back.
Somebody help!
What have you got?
Mr.
to
Johnson, they're trying to kill me.
What? What did you do?
Mr. Johnson, what did I do?
Yes.
What did I do to
I
deserve
don't know
this?
what you did.
Mr. Johnson?
Are the guards after you?
No, but this guy is. His name's Eldrinir. I just chopped his arm off. I think he's dead.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, let's see if we can
talked
find
to the
work
guy
elsewhere.
Before you murdered him in cold blood. I know where they keep all the good work. But in here.
They keep it in here,
That's
Mr.
what the guy
Johnson.
said to me before you stabbed him to death with a large
Mr.
sword.
Johnson, this place is called the Bannered Mare. Did you know that, Mr. Johnson?
Yes, that's what the sign said.
Mr. Johnson, they're attacking me again.
What do you mean?
He's black. See, it's the colored. I told you to watch out for the black people.
Don't hit him. This is a player.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait,
Hey, don't hit me.
Do something!
Well, another maggot.
those black people. The black man's trying to hurt me. Let's go, Mr. Johnson. I don't think this place is safe. We need to look for work elsewhere. Mr. Johnson, it's a cool tree. I think this tree is a great tree. It's been here for many years.
As per most trees.
Yeah, but this tree is special. This is my favorite tree. Mr. Johnson, you know what this tree is called?
Being safe, I hope.
Hey, Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
you know what this tree is called?
What is this tree called?
It's called the Great Tree.
Because the tree is great.
Then any aid.
Yeah. Mr. Johnson, why are all these people bowing before you?
Talk to
Are
Adrian.
you royal?
It's because the French have invaded the game.
I hate the French. His name's Garde de Blanche of Rive. Mr. Johnson, my voice cracked again. You think I'm going through puberty, Mr. Johnson? I want to have great big
Possibly.
balls, just like the Great Tree.
It astounds me how the tree has balls.
I mean, the tree doesn't have balls. I just want my balls to be great, like the tree, because the tree's really big. So, like, if the tree had balls, they'd probably be great big balls.
This person has made me fail the quest.
Now, don't worry about it, Mr. Johnson. You win some, you lose some.
Yes, and I've lost.
I think we can find other quests. We can go on a
Can.
grand adventure.
I do have a plan.
We can become powerful warriors and become legendary figures in the history of Skyrim, Mr. Johnson. Alright, Mr. Johnson. It's a beautiful new morning.
It is a beautiful new day.
I can't wait to go on a cool adventure. Are we gonna go adventuring today, Mr. Johnson?
Of course.
Okay. Am I gonna become a man, Mr. Johnson?
Careful if you cross the river to the east.
Are you implying that you weren't already a man?
I'm a boy. But when I'm done with this quest, I'll be a man.
Hopefully. Can you pick up that sword that I dropped?
The great sword. No. I like the great sword I already have. They said in the patch notes, Mr. Johnson, they said in the patch notes that dropping is not in the game yet. You have to trade through chess. Mr. Johnson.
Oh, okay. Well, now let's trade through a chest here.
I don't want your great sword, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, here.
And Mr. Johnson, my great-great-great-grandfather gave me this sword, and I want to honor his legacy. Mr. Johnson, that's a great big warhammer you have there.
Is that a
give it a-
warhammer in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
I'm happy to see you, Mr. Johnson. I'm always happy to see you.
Thank you.
Mr. Johnson, can you give that great big warhammer a great big swing? Wow, Mr. Johnson. that was
Hey,
so
there's a sword
cool.
here.
Mr. Johnson, that's the sword of the ages. That's the.
I'm
Let's leave it there. Mr. Johnson, did you know we went to that place right there? That's where the bandits were. We killed them.
I know.
Alright, Mr. Johnson, where are we going?
We're going to Rorikstead.
I think my uncle lives in Rorikstead. His name's Uncle Bart.
Uncle Bart.
Yeah.
He's like a very interesting character.
Yeah, he's pretty interesting. He molested my niece. They sent him away for a long, long time. I don't know if he's out or not. We'll have to see. He's out of the can. The clink.
Might have to eliminate him. Catch it.
Yeah.
Check
I know.
out this apothecary satchel.
What's an apothecary satchel, Mr. Johnson?
For all
Is that
your
some
apothecary tools.
I got some ale. And a hardcore
Ale,
loaf.
ginger.
I found a hat, Mr. Johnson.
Hat. Check
look
out
at my
your
hat?
hat.
Hold on, let me put it on. You know what my hat's called?
What?
Hat? Check it out. I'm a real hood nigga.
Only then did I notice that it was a do-rag.
Mr. Johnson, you like my hat?
Yes.
Should I keep my hat on?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, I'll keep it on. Mr. Johnson, what are you swinging your warhammer at? Your great big warhammer?
I'm swinging it at the wolf. Ouch! Wolf spirit.
Mr. Johnson, my spirit animal's a wolf.
Do you have the t-shirt with the wolf on it howling at the moon?
I wish. Boy, I wish. Oh, Mr.
Senator
Johnson.
Shart has acquired Swindler's. Hello.
Mr. Johnson, this place is real atmospheric. There's some
Oh.
volumetric fog in here.
More like volumetric frog.
Volumetric frog? I don't think they have those, Mr. Johnson. Let's take them down, Mr. Johnson. Let's see if they got some good loot.
Murdered him.
This woman's saying hey to me. I think she might want to go on a date.
Yeah, after you blow her brains out.
Mr. Johnson, I think I need to find a woman of my own. I need to go on a love quest.
The Shrine of Zenithar aided
Mr. Johnson,
is a blessing. What? What do you need?
have you ever been in love?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
I went to the mall every day. Had a giant sign that said, "Girlfriend
Agent's always
wanted,
looking for strong
no
people.
blacks."
You think you've
Did
got
you want a boyfriend-free girl?
Yes, I wanted a boyfriend, free girl.
That's
exactly.
what I want, Mr. Johnson.
Anyway, we've reached Rorikstead.
Rorikstead. I'm from Rorikstead. My uncle, his name's
My
Uncle.
uncle.
My uncle, his name's Uncle Bart. He molested my niece. Did I tell you about that?
Yes. You've mentioned this before.
Okay, let's go find him. Uncle
His name
Bart.
is Joanne Manette.
Uncle Bart.
Setting up to farm, you picked the right place.
Someone do something!
Uncle Bart, he was a no-good, rotten scoundrel. Mr. Johnson? Why
Yeah.
is there an Instagram filter on the world?
I don't know.
Mr. Johnson, it looks really ugly.
Yeah, it does look really ugly. I don't know what's happening. It's late in the day or something.
I might have to end my life.
Ah, the rats!
Oh,
Oh my god, there's so many!
Mr. Johnson, I'm a rat whisperer myself. Don't kill it. Mr. Johnson, those rats had feelings,
violent.
Mr. Johnson.
Let's go.
Mr. Johnson,
take
you're
him out.
merciless.
Let's check out Loon's hut.
Who's looned?
Ow! The rats, I don't know. We
Don't
gotta
hurt
find
the
out.
rats, Mr. Johnson. I'm a rat whisperer.
Rat whisperer.
Hello, rats.
Lund. Search him.
Mr. Johnson's, you know, some rats can cook.
What?
You know, there's this one rat. I know this one rat. My mama told me this story about a rat. My mama, her name was Mama Flatulence. My mama told me about this one rat. My mama told me about the story about this rat. His name was Remy. And everybody told him he couldn't cook because he was a rat. But then he overcame the odds and he cooked. And he made some mean ratatouille.
Ratatouille. Seems like a very interesting story. What's the story called?
It's called Ratatouille. Wow, Mr. Johnson, you've been in there a real long time. What were you doing to that man?
Unspeakable things.
Just leave the rats alone, Mr. Johnson. They didn't do shit to you. Let's go.
They're biting at me. Time to go to Markarth.
Alright, Mr. Johnson,
We will browse we'll browse Markarth for wares.
Mr. Johnson, can we sleep in the same bed?
Uh,
My mom told me I can't sleep in the bed with other men. But, I'm not a man, I'm a boy, so... Maybe we can sleep together, Mr. Johnson. What do you say?
maybe.
Maybe, Okay, we'll find out when we get there, Mr. Johnson. We'll see
Okay,
how
let's
much
check out this
the
tower
bugs are.
first. See if we can get a vantage point. I got a bunch of cool stuff. You want to see my cool helmet?
I'd love to see your cool helmet, Mr. Johnson.
Put it on.
Oh, Mr. Johnson, that's
Ta-da.
cool. That's golden.
Rub it.
Oh, Mr. Johnson, let's have a sit by the campfire. Rest our legs.
Campfire song.
Mr. Johnson, can I tell you a story, Mr. Johnson?
Okay, tell me a story.
Mr. Johnson, do you know my family? You know Mr. Johnson, you know my name?
Yes,
What's my name, Mr. Johnson?
Senator Shart.
Yeah, Mr. Johnson, that's my name. You know, I'm part of a family called the Fecal Family. We rule the multiverse. Do you know that? That's why I'm so powerful and strong.
Huh.
Do you know that? That's how I forget all my power from, Mr. Johnson. It's from my ancestors. I'm a rectal warrior, Mr. Johnson. I will be when I grow up. You know, I've got to become a man on this journey, so I can be a true, strong rectal warrior and live up to my ancestors. Yeah. You understand that, Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Okay. That's all.
Thank you for the story.
Okay, Mr. Johnson. Let's go.
Let's continue our journey to those other towers over there.
I wonder who built these towers. You know, there must have been some really strong, buff men that built these towers.
Most likely.
Yeah. They had lots of hair on their chest. I bet they smell good. I gotta get out of here, Mr. Johnson. Ah, Mr. Johnson, I almost fell off a cliff. Look at this great big cliff. It's so beautiful.
And so their adventure was underway. What trials lie ahead for our tumultuous heroes? We soon shall see.